Okay, let's start with this week's lecture. In the last week, we saw how to work with lists. We also saw how to write conditional statements and for loop. So this week we'll start with strings. Okay. Some of the things are similar in strings to list. Okay. So let's see. First of all, the slicing. The slicing operation is actually exactly the same as it was in list. Okay. Then there was something we did in or not in. This operation is also exactly the same. Okay, these are very common operations. Then we also saw plus or this multiplication that we can use for catenation. Okay. Plus is for catenation, and the asterisk is for repeat, repmat operation. Okay, so let's take a look at those things in a spider. Okay. Say I have a string like this. Okay. So this is our string. Okay, you can look into the video, take a look at the variable explorer. Okay, so for example, if I want to extract the first element, I write just like this, e of 0, that is the first element. Okay, this is the slicing. So if I want to extract the first two elements, I will write like this way. Okay, the last index will not be included. Okay, same thing as it was for list. Okay, so if I write something like this, for example, O in A, as you can see, this is true because O present is present in LOST, that is lost. Okay. Similarly, if I want to use catenation as plus, okay, A plus, okay, if I write 6, it will not work. If you look at the trace back the error, can only concatenate a string to a string. Okay, I cannot catenate an integer to a string, so both sides should be string. So I can do like this way, A plus string 6. Now it is working. Okay, so this is the catenation operation. Similarly, if I want to do like this, so 3 copy of the original string is created. So these are the very basic thing that are same as a list. Okay, now one thing you need to understand. So we talked about object in Python, and I also said that Python objects are mutable. That means when you perform a method on an object, that object actually changes. Okay, but that is not true for all data types. Okay. Python's list, okay, list was a mutable object. Mutable means it changes, but string is immutable. Okay, it does not change, immutable. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, let's see here. Let's create a list now. 4,7. Okay, 2 elements. So one of the things that we did using a list is that item assignment, like this. If I want to change the element in the index 1, I can write, say for example, 100. You will see the value of b will change here. It is 4,7 now. When I run, it becomes 4,100. But if I want to do the same thing, similar thing, using the string a, say for example, I want to in string, I want to change the o to a asterisk sign. Okay, so if I do it, as you can see, string object does not support item assignment. That means I want to change something within the list, within the string, but you cannot do that. Okay, so you cannot change or modify a string object like this way because the string object is immutable. Similarly, when you apply a method on a string object, you will see your original object will not change. We'll look into that right after this. Okay, so first of all, this item assignment operation is not available. Okay, so here we can write one is item assignment. Okay, so this was possible in list, but it is not possible in Python string. Okay, so second thing was the deletion operation. Okay, we use this del term, if you remember, to remove an element from a list. Okay, but that is not that will not also work in a string. Okay, you can check that by yourself. Now let's take a look at these are the very basic things that we used to do in list. The same things These three things you can perform with strings, but these two things you cannot. Okay, now let's take a look at the methods that are available in string. So if you remember, we can see all the methods by like this way: dir, then the object, that is the string object. Okay, so these are the things that we are available. Okay, as you can see, there are lots of methods that are available with string. Don't worry about it. We don't have to you don't have to remember or memorize all of those things. Okay, we only look at to the things that are very common. Okay, so some of the common methods we'll actually use. Achha. So let's start. Say for example, let's create a new list. Let's make it like this way. Okay, so Lego and Virgo. Okay, so this is our list, a string. This A is now a string. Okay, so let's try to apply one method. Say for example, upper. Okay, so this is the same thing that you used in MATLAB. Upper means all the elements, so within this string should be uppercase letter. Okay, now try to take a look here and here. So when I run this, as you can see, all the elements actually turn into uppercase. But take a look at here, our A, it is not changed. So when I am performing this method upper on this object A, our original object is not changing. It is remaining exactly the same as it was before. This is the exactly opposite to list in Python. So I hope you got the idea that when you perform a method, okay, on a string, that string will not change. So you have to do something like this: b is equals to a dot upper. So you have to use the assignment operation. Okay, so let's make it a2. Now as you can see, a2, the string, it is now in the uppercase position, uppercase letters. Okay, so this assignment operation, this way, this equalization of equalize operation was not available. You cannot use this way using list, but you can do this way in Python strings. Okay, now I hope you got the idea. So let's move on. So this is the upper, the same is for lower. So let's keep a track of all the things that you are doing. Okay, these are the methods. Now let's create some methods. So the methods that you're using, that was upper, we saw. There is also one something that is called lower. Okay, it will make everything lowercase. Okay, now let's take a look. Okay, so for example, if I do something like this, a dot capitalize. Okay, so as you can see the output, okay, only the first letter is converted into uppercase, all the others are converted into lowercase. So if you do the same for a2, you can see, so a2 is everything is uppercase in a2. Now if I perform this method, you can see only the first one is kept uppercase, all the others is converted into lowercase. So capitalize means the first character will be capital, all the others will be lowercase. Okay, now as you can see, when I am performing these methods, none of the string is changed, that is exactly the same. Okay, so this is another one that we learned, that is called capitalize. Okay, let's move on. Now okay, say for example, I have two elements here, one is Lego and one is Virgo. I want to separate these two things out. Okay, so if I want to do something like this, we can do some, say for example, phi is equals to a2 dot split. Okay, this split will split the individual elements. Okay, now if you look at v, as you can see, now I have a list. So initially a2 was a string. When I perform this split operation, it converts the elements, okay, converts the items into a list, and it is splitting, okay, in the space position. Okay, there was a space, so by default it will split the original string in the space. Okay, so if you take a look at v, so I have this Lego and I have this Virgo. There was a space between these two. Now there is no space because at that position the original string was splitted. Okay, I can also mention at which position I want to split my string. So we can write like this way: a2 dot split. Where I want to split, say for example I want to split on the comma, there was a comma here, so I want to split at this comma sign. Okay, if I want to do like this, as you can see now I have LEGO and it has been splitted in the comma position and a Virgo. But take a look at here now. Now I have something like a space here. Okay, because there was a space in this position, it was splitted in this position, so there was a space goes to the second element, second item in the list. Okay, okay, so this is the split operation. Okay, try to practice by yourself a little bit, see how everything actually looks like. Okay, split, using this split I can convert a string to a list. Okay, now so let's come here. Now say the problem was with this v2 list is that there was a space in the front. How can we remove this thing? Okay, how to remove that space, white space character? Okay, very easily it can be done. So if I do something like this, v2 of 1. Okay, so v2 of 1 is the second element, second item. So I'll take the item, I want to perform an operation that is called strip. Okay, so strip strips the string, removes any white space characters from the string, from the beginning side or the inside. So if I do something like this, as you can see, the space that was in front of Virgo has now been removed. Okay, so this is the strip to remove any white space characters. Okay, so these were also available in MATLAB. So we learned 4 methods. So these are the very common things. Now let's say I want to do something. Now I have a list. Okay, so let's do this fast. v2 of 1 is equals to, okay, let's do it like this way, because when I perform this method on a string, our original string was not changed. Okay, I have to assign it at that position, so let's assign it. Now as I can see, I have this 2 elements, 2 items, LEGO and Virgo. Okay, so I have a list now with 2 items. Now what if I want to join them together? Okay, so initially these are like this way, is a string. I have splitted it into a list. So what if I want to reverse engineer it? Okay, I have a list, I want to convert it to a string. Okay, so it can done using the join method. Okay, so this is a bit different. Let's take a look. So this is called join. This means convert list to a string. Okay, so what I will do here, say I want to join these two with something. Say for example I want to join these two with a like a hyphen. Okay, so I use that at the beginning, then I use a dot, then join method, I perform that method on this one. Okay, see what happens. Okay, now it becomes LEGO dash Virgo because I have joined the 2 elements using this hyphen. Okay, you can also add some multiple elements, it will perform all the elements. So say for example if I do something like this, v2 dot append. Okay, say for example I append something like this. Okay, as you can see, since this is a list, so this append operation mutates the list. So now I have like this, I want to join all these 3 using a comma. So I will do something like this, ss, so this comma dot join. Okay, this v2. Okay, so they will be joined with a comma. I can do something like this, I can put a space there also. That is the general way of writing. Now as you can see, I have this string ss, they are joined with a comma and a space. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So these are some of the methods. In the next lecture we'll see some other methods as well.